Well, hello! Welcome to another week. Been a bit of a delay because when you are freelance casual, there is a temptation to say yes to more than you can actually do. And that's because sometimes you think, when is my next bit of work going to come through? Like, if I don't take this, I don't know if I'm going to get work next week. And I know I've got what's called to me a red month coming up, which is April, because for someone that makes money predominantly from being in schools on a if you're in you get paid kind of basis, schools aren't open for 2 weeks of April. August is a completely red month. There is no work in schools in August. And December would be another red month. I mean, August is a really bad one. So I have to counteract these around in the other months. So we've got green months that I can work entirely through. So we're currently in a green month. Yeah, because March doesn't get eaten up by Easter or a half term. So there's a couple of those. I think June's pretty much another one. And then November is another clear one pretty much. And so, some of the orange months are actually all right. There's only a couple of days eaten out of them. But it's all about being aware that sometimes things are going to be slower. So for example, in the Easter holidays, I've got plans to do a tutoring boot camp. I tutor anyway, so that, especially in Easter, might continue because we're hotting up for GCSEs. Whereas in the December one, that might not be the case because mocks might be happening for some children, or it might not. It might have just finished. So people want Christmas off. It's all a bit all over the place. So you don't know till you're doing it, and each scenario changes because each individual and each family wants different things. But you kind of have to have that in your mind. So in my head, knowing that March is a good month, I possibly overburdened myself by saying yes. So it meant that I did a streak of 3 days. I think it was all just in one place. I can't remember now. This is why everything has to go in your diary as well. Like electronically, I have to fill in timesheets, so it's all going to be there. Anyway, then I did a new school on the Monday, Tuesday following, and then 2 days at a school that I already have worked at. So that was a normal working week in terms of 3 days, then a weekend, and then 4 days. Now, supply teaching is so much more intense than usual teaching because you're on the back foot, right? You don't necessarily have a seating plan unless you're given it. If you're lucky, then you're great. If you're given it, you're one up, and that's helpful. You may or may not know the children. Obviously, with a new school, I really didn't know the children nor the building. So, you have to really work on that very quickly. And then, it's generally 5 period days. You might be lucky and get a 4 just because there isn't the cover, but predominantly you're needed. But it's normally 5 period days. So I'd like to think teachers don't often have 5 period days. I know it is a reality. I still used to have them myself. But you tend not to. You hopefully only have 4 because you've got planning time to do as well. And, that can still count as work. I fully appreciate that. In the classroom, intensity drains you, and the 3 days, 2 days off, 4 days, nah. And I've learnt my lesson. That's it. But all the physiological signs came back. So, so sorry, this is what I'm going to say that. I was much more tired, and I couldn't really recoup. I was so thankful for that Friday of the 1, 2, 3, 4 Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday. And then we're into this week, which I've done Monday in school, Tuesday off, Wednesday in school, Thursday off, woohoo, and then Friday I'm in school tomorrow. And the same next week, actually. I actually really like that pattern. Some people will be like, is that not stop-start? No, I don't really mind. It's one of those, and it is really hard because you want to say yes because you don't know about the opportunities that are going to come up, but at the same time the whole point of doing this was to be able to balance things. And that was a testing system. Doing 3 days in a row was actually enough, let alone then being a donut and having 4 days in a row to compete with. Honestly, what was I thinking? We're not doing that again. I think 2 days is a really nice sweet spot for being in a row. After that, you want a bit of a break. I could do 3 days, but it really does wipe me out for a while. And the other thing that added to it is that I do tutoring on a Monday and Tuesday. So it wasn't like I came home and chilled every evening. I have to do those things too, particularly on a Monday, Tuesday. So that made 12-hour days. Yeah, hadn't accounted for that intensity quite so much. It happens, just the way it is. I've learnt my lesson. We won't be doing that again. It is hard in that sense though, because cash flow is odd when you're doing this. It's scary sometimes. It's not because I'm proving to myself by doing it that I can do it. So this month is on track to be the best month. Green month. It was always going to be. It's going to counteract the naff month that January was, though shouldn't have been. It should have been actually an amber to green month, but just where things were starting up, it wasn't. And then next month, red month. So we know that, I know that the money I'm making now does need to tide over for April. If I can come up with ways to make money during April, then so be it. That's absolutely fine. I will stick with that. But there's every potential that it's not. And so I have to be aware of that. I also changed something about the way I manage my accounts too. I started to, as money came in, I started to allocate it to a month. So I was putting in the bare minimum of £1,500 for what I need to pay for. I started to up that because it wasn't enough. It was more like 1,700, probably really is the bare minimum I need. While still enjoying some luxuries. I haven't gone mad. I haven't gone out and gone on massive shopping sprees or been out to any kind of big concerts and shows. I've been trying to utilise things that I have within, like, so I have health insurance, Vitality, little plug there, that for depending on how often you walk, you get points for. So I get a cinema ticket every month. So when I've said I've gone to the cinema on TikTok and stuff, partially that has been because I've used a voucher. I get a free drink at Cafe Nero every week, so long as I hit my targets. I love it. So that's, I don't spend £3 something on a drink. It's free. So I have been, where possible, clever about things like that. But the idea of putting the money in the account like that in months, it was actually stressing me out. And so this reminded me of a time when I used to do that at uni, where I used to put different money in accounts for different things. Whilst it worked at uni because I needed to budget heavily, I had carried that into my adult life and thought, oh, well, I'll put that in there for that and I'll put that in there for that. And then you end up just moving money around, and that's the bit I think that stressed me out more. So I adapted that this week, and I've just put an account for mortgage and bills, all the things that you've got to pay for. So like the 1,700 figure was for also eating, getting that kind of stuff. So no, now I've got a spending pot, which is obviously going to fluctuate a lot. And then there's a mortgage one. Now, I don't know how it's going to work in practice because I get paid and income comes in really weird ways. So the schools I work at pay me via PAYE. So that comes in monthly at the end of the month, or it's going to be the beginning. I don't know all the paydays yet. So that's going to be big points at which money comes in, just like a wage. But then the tutoring comes in separately. Some of them pay in blocks. Some of them pay as you go. So that's either can be constant, or I can get a little bulk, and it's always at a really random time. It's never, because even on a 4 or 5 bulk, sometimes they miss a session, or we've got these holidays, so it comes in at really awkward times. So you get sometimes just a constant stream of money that you don't really notice, and then sometimes you get a big influx, but then obviously you don't know when your next one's going to be per se. You can roughly guess. Then I've got all the things that come in randomly, like advertising, when I do affiliate marketing, coaching and the programs, though that tends to go back into the business specifically. I count that as income because it's still something that's generated. It prevents me having to kind of bankroll anything in that sense. But, it is a minefield of all these different things. And so, yeah, I need to work out how to balance those accounts, but it very much suits me to do it in that way. So I thought I would share the latest in the working arrangements because I've done this now, this weird kind of lifestyle, which I'm quite enjoying. I'm not gonna lie, this is not for everyone, but I'm enjoying the thing. And anytime a commitment gets proposed to me, I can feel it in my stomach that like there's so much potential resistance to it. Just depends. I need some flexibility. I can't commit myself to too much, because I'm trying too many things out at the moment to give that up. Look at the smile on my face. Like, it says everything about how it's going, even though like it's difficult. It feels difficult with cash flow. But then I look at the number and I go, okay, that is still all outstanding, and I do need to send that invoice off. That is my fault. that one that's just come to mind as like oh God, I need to print that off and send it in the post. So I'm going to go and do that. I'm sure I've got more to share with you. I've got plenty more to share with you. In fact, there's so many topics I can go into. But for now, that's what you're getting this week. See you next time.